What's up, everyone? How are we doing, America? I am so happy you guys are with us today. You have joined 60 Minute Suspension. My name is Amp, and my co-host, Mr. T-Dub Tyler Williams. What's up, man?
What's up, man? I see you're doing this with your hands.
That's a hand thing. We're doing hand things today.
Yeah. What's up, man? What's up, everybody? I'm T-Dub. I'm here at 60 Minute Suspension with my boy Amp. We're about to throw it down. We got some great stories today. Stay tuned for all of them. We're going to try to hit a lot. We're going to try to hit a lot today, and then include our own fantasy. Our own fantasy sports, that is. I don't know about your fantasies, Amp.
Yeah. We're going to do all that stuff and more with our hands. There's a lot of hand stuff today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry, I'm producing while doing the show at the same time. Anyways, so today we have a lot of stories today, and so let's just dive right into them. On the title of today's show, we titled it NBA in China. Very interesting little tagline there to connect those two dots. It's not very often that you hear these two in the same sentence, and so Tyler kind of brought this story to me first. I'm going to let him take lead on this one. But Tyler, explain what's going on with the NBA in China.
Yeah, so pretty much what's going on with the NBA in China is like we got a mix of a big political storm, some Twitter, NBA superstars, NBA GMs, NBA commissioner. So like we have all these big, head egos and all these people who I don't know if you've ever. Okay, first of all, China is a communist country. So they have a bunch of strict rules. So the NBA has a very close relationship with China, as not just with China, but they're a very global organization themselves. So they're all over the world. So they do a good job of spreading their sport and their brand all over the world. They have a very strong partnership with China that is very lucrative to them. I think it brings in billions of dollars a year, like billions and billions, like maybe like 2 billion. But still, that's just like another franchise, basically. So if you can pretty much have that outcoming or incoming revenue from a different country by not even really having a team, but just supporting them is a pretty good deal. So basically what we have is Daryl Morey. He's the Rockets GM and of the Houston Rockets GM. He basically said on Twitter, let me see if I can find his tweet real quick, but it was basically saying he sides with Hong Kong, like the Hong Kong movement. And if you know anything about the Hong Kong movement, it's basically because Hong Kong was actually a British territory until 1997, believe it or not. And I know that's weird to think about, and I really didn't know much about that, but it was a British territory, so it was ruled under a democracy, while the rest of China surrounding Hong Kong or whatnot was a communist country. So there's been some, differences, and you've heard the term like 2 nations and one or whatever, and that's pretty much described China. So there's kind of a rebellion going on right now in Hong Kong, and you've probably seen videos and heard it all over the news that there's a rebellion and a fight back going on. So this tweet basically said from Daryl Morey said that he supports, the fight back against, basically China's government. And obviously China being, very controlling as their government seems to be, stepped in and said pretty much is like cutting all ties with the NBA.
Wow.
And yeah, so there's more to it, but if you want to intervene at any moment and put a little two bits in, if you have any questions about it, I'll feel free to answer those as well. But I'll keep going as well.
Real quick, so to give people a context of how big the NBA is in China, for preseason tickets, okay, this is the Lakers Nets preseason game in Shanghai. Floor seats on a Thursday night game between the Lakers and Nets, their seats were being sold from $2,500 or upwards to $2,500. So
it's crazy.
These guys love their basketball.
The right. It's crazy. They love the NBA in China. It's awesome, But But that's one thing, and also like the NBA had it's also this big. You know, there's only like 3 stations I think. I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that there's only like 3 stations in China. You know, like on your TV, and so two of the stations show these NBA games.
Wow.
So do you think think of how important that is? They pretty much both those stations have cut ties with the NBA. Let me just kind of walk you through a little bit of the timeline. Like, of course, you had Maury's tweet on October 4th, so this was just a couple weeks ago. Friday night, Maury posted a photo bearing the words "Fight for Freedom, Stand with Hong Kong." Given the strong emotions, now a lot of people, and he even eventually came back and recanted all that and said like, you know, I just wasn't informed. You know, I thought I was, you know, saying something pretty much for, you know, peace and whatnot. So and anyways, so basically, Tillman, the owner, Tillman Fertitta, they've really distanced themselves. So the owner of the Houston Rockets kind of distanced themselves from Daryl Morey in another tweet. He tweeted, listen. Daryl Morey does not speak for the Houston Rockets. Our preseason, our presence in Tokyo is all about promotion of the NBA and internationally, and we are not a political organization. So they kind of distanced themselves from them. And then on the October 5th, you kind of had some fallout. China and the NBA have numerous partnerships in key countries in the country. However, like Maury's tweet, like really kind of shook up those. I think there's a China-based Tencent, an official broadcast. Like this is what I was talking about earlier, an official broadcasting partner that pays the league $1.5 billion. So just that broadcasting pays the league $1.5 billion. Oh and they suspended all Rockets broadcasts, as did China Central Television, CCTV. So those are big hits. So this one tweet is costing them so much money. Dang. And then there's so many more layers to this whole story, and it goes on and on. But Maury actually apologizes. You know, he said, I did not intend to tweet to cause any. I did not intend for my tweet to cause any offense to the Rockets fans, friends of mine in China. I was merely voicing my thought based on an interpretation of a complicated event. I have had a lot of opportunities since that tweet to hear and consider other perspectives. He goes on to say, I have always appreciated significant support of our Chinese fans and sponsors and how they have provided, and I would hope that those who are upset will know that offending or misunderstanding them was not my intention. My tweet are my own and in no way represented by the Rockets or the NBA. So he kind of went back on his word. And there's just, you know, this even gets involved with our government. I think even lately, Mike Pence has pretty much said that the NBA and the Rockets and the teams are kind of pondering to China, which is basically kind of bending to them. And to a way, I can kind of see that, you know?
Yeah.
But what do you think about this? Morally, what do you think about all this, Amp? Are we deep enough in it to start talking about it, or you want me to keep reading? Because there's so much to it. Like I feel like break it down.
Well, let me add this one on there too, because this is a really good point of view. Also, the NBA commissioner chimes in, Adam Silva, and I mean he drops a really long statement, but I do want to drop this last part here. He says, however, and I quote, however, the NBA will not put itself in position of regulating what players, employees, and other owners say or will not say on these issues. We simply could not operate that way. Basketball runs deep in the hearts and minds of our two peoples at a time when divides between nations grow deeper and wider. We believe sports can be unifying force that focuses on what we have in common as human beings rather than our differences. So Adam Silva he doesn't necessarily defend Dewey, or is that his name? Daryl. He doesn't necessarily defend Daryl, but he's not shunning him either. And he's saying, look, we're a company, not only a company, but a company that is based on our American values, which is we're not going to censor anyone. We're not going to tell anyone that they can't say or do what they feel. Obviously, how their views and things. He also says this in the statement. He says that different people have different views, different values, different personalities and morals. And so with that being said, people are going to say what they want in different ways. And we have another story later on that kind of covers this concept. But ultimately, he was saying the NBA is not stepping into this. We're not going to, drop any charges or fees or anything or fines on anyone, especially Daryl. He's his own man and he makes his own choices. And if it cost his team $1.5 billion, that's on his shoulders. But I don't understand the owner though, where she says that, or he says that, he doesn't speak for the team, but he is your GM. So in a sense, he's supposed to speak for your team. Now I understand.
Maybe not on his personal Twitter though.
And I think that's where I was going to get at is, from his personal Twitter and his personal viewpoints. Yeah, obviously the team's going to look differently. But I just found that kind of funny the way she worded that and said that, because it kind of sounds like, so are you going to fire him? Like, what is, like the way she worded it kind of made it sound like dude's jobless now. I'm not sure.
Yeah. They definitely distanced themselves from him, and they were like, "Nah, we don't feel the same. We like that money."
Right? Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's a business, and I will say this. I mean, dude, it's a sport. So, no offense, you were on tour in a foreign country. Why are you saying anything? Like, you don't want to get stuck over there, dude.
Dude, China don't fuck with
play
China.
with China, bro.
They will keep you there.
They don't care
for a long time. That's like a nightmare to get stuck
in China,
right? To me. I don't know why. They're like very nice people, but like I don't know.
Dude, if I was James Harden, I would have been mad, because I'd have been like, bro, if they landed our plane and I couldn't go home, like you know what I mean?
They grounded you, like, oh my god, because you don't have any sort of protection. You can't take any. I mean, I don't know where you can take a gun.
No, you can't take a gun. No,
you can't take a gun in China. You can't even take a Bible.
Right? You can't even. Yeah, exactly.
And then this also goes. You just brought up James Harden, but LeBron James got kind of pissed, because he felt like it was wrong of the NBA to not have addressed it before the players took questions on it. So now you have the players, some of these players may not, I'm not politically savvy, I'm not China savvy, like what are these athletic athlete party boys? Not everyone's a party boy, but rock stars. What are these rock stars care about China enough to know about their government? I don't even care about their government that much. So to put them on stand and have them answer questions in a professional manner about something very serious was, I can understand what LeBron was getting at. He basically called out the NBA for making them take questions before any of it was even addressed. They were pretty much the first ones to, address it,
And
players.
From my understanding, from what I read in this article, also China. So what's funny, Daryl wrote out this apology specifically to China and its fan base or whatever. But it's funny that he tweeted this because technically China has banned Twitter. So China residents don't even have Twitter. So he apologized to Wind is essentially what he did. That's hilarious. I hope it reaches. No, this is.
I'm gonna put it on a Twitter.
Yeah, right. To a country that doesn't even. That's how educated these guys are. Like that's how much they know. You know what I mean? Like that right there should explain a lot. So, anyways, yeah, that's a wild story. We're gonna have to keep track of that one because there's a lot going on with that, and that can, like you said, I mean, it's all the way to the government, man. I mean, that's a major issue.
As of today, like Pence and Trump are quoting on this stuff, so it's still a moving story, obviously, we'll see what happens with the broadcasting. They may get, they're just suspended, so that doesn't mean it's terminated. So it could come back. Money flow could come back, and China and the NBA could have a good relationship again. But as of right now, that was it's kind of ugly.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep our eye on that story for sure.
But also, don't you think China is super sensitive?
I mean, dude. It's China. Like, they've always been sensitive. Like, they're a country based on pride and standards, and they're.
Yeah, but they're a whole different country now. Like, you ever thought about, like, they used to be, okay, so China used to, like, worship, like, the warrior and the samurai or whatever their, highest, that was like their emperor, there's no longer an empire.
Yeah.
It's a whole different, it's a whole different system. So the pride is a little different now. If you get what I'm saying.
I think it is and it isn't, though. Also, like, yeah, it's evolving at a much slower pace than we are socially. So there's that part to look at. But then there's just so many roots of just, like you were talking about, the warrior pride, the sense of, not entitlement, the sense of, just
like
honor.
Victory.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. I think it will not necessarily decay, but it will adjust in the way that they see it to adjust. But I think it's still too early to say things like that for sure. Like how he worded it. I mean, dude, you're a GM of a basketball. Like, why even say anything? That's my thing. Like, it's none of your business.
And no offense to the major things going on in the world, but you got a lot of stuff to worry about.
Like your job. I'm just
kidding. Right. So, like, how do you divide the ball between Russell Westbrook and James Harden? That's complicated.
Yeah, that really is. And I know his wife wasn't happy when I got home. So anyways, let's move on. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on the China and NBA story. But this next story kind of came out earlier this month. This is a really interesting piece. If you don't know who this gentleman is, his name is Percy Harvin. If you kind of weren't into football until just like 2 years ago, you probably have never heard of this guy before. For the past decade, Percy Harvin has been one of the highlight reels of the NFL and college. I mean, this guy was literally a walking, breathing highlight reel.
Two highlight reels that I will love forever. College only.
Yeah.
You can throw Percy's NFL in there because every time he touched the field, he was flashing.
Oh man, he's flashing. Yeah.
It was insane. But two highlight reels I will watch them any day of the week. Leonard Fournette and Percy Harvin. If you put on Leonard Fournette, that shit is wild. He's just killing people on the freaking field. Percy Harvin, the fastest dude I've ever seen, and just so graceful. I recommend anybody go watch it right now. If you're watching this, don't go watch it right now. Go watch it in 40 minutes or however long. But Percy Harvin, highlight tape, do it.
Yeah, do it. One of his greatest accomplishments, he did an 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Wait for it, in the Super Bowl. Okay, so, I mean, this guy's the real deal. He was traded to the Seahawks, and that's probably where most people remember him most, as his time with the Seahawks. But, long story short, Percy Harvin kind of had to quit football in a sense because he kept getting concussions. This guy got hit in the head so many times, and eventually I think it just caught up to him, and he just had so many injuries at this point. He had to kind of give up. So we only got 8 years out of him. And don't get me wrong, they were phenomenal 8 years. Like, it was fun to watch this guy play. I mean, he had the body stature of like a lean running back, but the speed and route running abilities as any of the top wide receivers in the game. His hands were incredible. Right. So, I mean, you cannot not say enough about his skill set. But unfortunately, playing the league or playing the style that he played, he ran so hard and so strong and gave it 120% every time he went on the field. And it leads to injuries, man. And football is a rough sport. So he had to call it quits kind of early.
Yeah.
So anyways, Tyler, do you have that soundbite?
I do. Let me. Sorry.
So while he's pulling that up, Percy Harvin had a sit-down interview with Bleacher Report, and it was a video. And you're more than welcome to search this yourself, Percy Harvin. Hi. That's kind of all you have to write, and it'll pop up for you. But check this out.
All right, you ready?
What was your solution to kind of help cope with these anxiety situations that popped up?
Now you're looking at a guy that I was at the Mayo Clinic and I had at least 7 prescriptions that I was to take from Zoloft and all the other ones I was taking. And the only thing that really seemed to work is when I would smoke marijuana.
How often did you smoke, Percy?
There's not a game I played in that I wasn't high. And that's what I want the world to kind of see today, is it's not a stigma and people doing it and getting in a whole bunch of trouble. It's people that's just living regular life that just got deficiencies or just may want to enjoy themselves. It's a natural way to do so.
How crazy is that y'all still won the Super Bowl despite all this chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough stuff, man. I mean, to own up to saying that you were high every single game you played throughout your professional and college career. Wow.
Not only does he own it, but I'm sure he did it in high school too. But not only does he own it, but he doesn't regret it, and he fully endorses it. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, we have people like Long, the defensive end. We just had a piece on him. Not too long. What is his first name? I can't remember his first name.
His first name is Chris Long.
Chris Long coming out and endorsing marijuana for the players and saying how helpful it was through just recuperation.
You may remember Eugene Monroe of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He played, and I think we traded him to the Ravens, and he eventually retired so that he could continue marijuana and THC and CBD business for and to help people using marijuana. So Percy in this pretty much just comes all out and says it. He was high every single game. Percy's definitely got a storied life or career, and it was even storied. I remember I was a diehard Gator fan, and he was part of that Tim Tebow, Brandon Spikes, Percy Harvin, Aaron Hernandez.
You don't say his name.
Class.
I'm just kidding.
Aaron.
There you go.
Class. And so that was I followed them hard, and I remember Percy was he got kicked off the team because he was getting in fights with his own teammates, which he later did in the NFL, which he also choked out a coach at Florida. And he's also missed so many games due to migraines, and you gotta wonder what kind of effect all those concussions, all of that had on his head, and how maybe those lashing out you can attribute them to his concussion. So yeah, maybe smoking marijuana seemed to have calmed him down. But it's funny when he punched. Like, it's not funny, but he hit Golden Tate the day of, in the dirt, like the day before the Super Bowl or whatever. The week of the Super Bowl, his team picture day, gave him a black eye like 5 minutes before the picture because Golden Tate said we got here without Percy. Like that's the kind of stuff that triggered him. It was just like. He was like he said. If you watch the interview, he said he was already at a level 10 when he went to approach Tate. So there was nothing he was going to say anyway. So he knocked him into a trash can. Knocked him out into a trash can. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then which he was then traded to, the Buffalo Bills, where careers go to die. At least. Well, maybe not this year because what are they? 6-1, 5-1 now?
Yeah, they only lost one game so far, so
barely to the Patriots. So yeah, that Percy Harvin. What's your take on it all?
I mean, it's impressive. I'm really glad that he opened up about it and kind of gave us, I love when players kind of open up about behind the scenes, what goes on in the locker room. I'm really curious how he was able to play every game high. I'm really curious about that because actually, truth be known, he's never been suspended for any type of substance abuse ever. He was suspended for the altercation that one time, but that was it. He was never once suspended for substance abuse. So I don't know how he beat the system. He must have bought a lot of pee.
All those drug tests are random, sometimes they seem a little more like not so random, but
So, I mean, I'm really happy he got out when he did, because I mean, you got to call it when you need to. You got to know your body and your limitations. You know, you don't want to see bad things happen to you down the line. And you know, with you know, a lot of players contribute marijuana to recovery, and if that helps them, more power to them, man. And I'm really proud for Chris Long being kind of like a strong advocate. Obviously, this statement from Percy Harvin is going to help that as well. And hopefully the NFL opens its ears. I mean, the United States is no longer shunned to the idea of marijuana use in recovery. And, you know, obviously recreational is the main focus for a lot of people who like to do marijuana. Yeah, obviously we want the freedom to just do it. But let's be realistic. We live in a society that likes to move at a snail's pace. So let the players use it as a recovery system. You know, let the players use what they feel is the right way. Because, I mean, Percy Harvin talked about he had like 7 prescriptions for anxiety. There's no way that's good for you. There's no way.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of them were some heavy stuff. Like Zoloft isn't easy stuff. You know, it alters your mind, you know, in different ways than marijuana does. So, you know, I'm like, you know, and some of those things may have been opioid type things, you know.
Yeah.
And God, man, that shit's killing our country.
It is.
And you know, like you and I've had a friend who suffered from it.
That's
so
right.
like, I'm scared to ever take. I just broke my leg and I'm not taking my prescription just because I'm scared of that shit. I don't want to fuck with it. Like,
nope.
I can see why he doesn't either. You know.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully this opens.
Who's to know? Everybody's body is different with different chemical balances. You know, and you can't just give people certain.
Right.
You know, some people just can't do it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so hopefully this raises more questions in the NFL towards marijuana use. You know, the country's moving forward with it. Hopefully the NFL opens up its mind. Hopefully Roger Goodell gets a stick out of his butt. All right, moving on. So this next piece, it's a 2-part story, a 3-part story if you want, but we're going to condense it into one because it raises some really interesting questions. In the United States, you have the freedom of speech. You have the ability to speak your mind, say whatever you want, without any repercussions, honestly, from the government. I mean, they can't really do anything. Now, obviously, there's certain things that you don't want to say, like, you know, bomb on an airplane. You don't want to say that. Like, you know, you never would want to ever say that. Thank you, Ben Stiller. But there's also other things that, you know, you may not want to post on social media. And we found that out through FBI hunting down people. So maybe there's certain things you don't want to say, but your viewpoints, your moral beliefs, or your religious beliefs, whatever, they'll never be attacked from the government. They don't have the right to do that. But if you are employed by a company, even if it's in America, and you are kind of not necessarily the face of them, but you're a pretty big person in that organization, do you have those same freedoms as, say, a regular citizen? Are you allowed to say whatever you want? Daryl, who we just talked about, from the GM from Houston, we just talked about how, was that smart? Did he have the right to say that? Well, there's another guy who came out, big whoop, on social media, big surprise there, and it was an umpire, a referee in Major League Baseball, and he has some really strong views about Donald Trump, and this is what he said. And I quote, he said, I had it right in front of me. Yeah, and I quote, the hashtag MLBUA is aware of, nope, that is not it.
I got you right
thank
here.
You.
Yeah, he says, and I quote, "I will be buying an AR-15 tomorrow because if you impeach my president this way, you will have another civil war," all caps, hashtag MAGA 2020. What the, like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy that people feel that they need to say that. You know, because the president just said that a couple weeks ago, and now people feel like it's going to be a true thing. And the more people say it, man, the more...
It's scary. It's really scary.
It's scary.
What's even scarier, though...
It's not like Haunt My Dreams scary or anything like that. It's just like... It's like sad scary.
Makes you think about stuff. So same thing, going around the same concept. You know how Houston kind of the owner said we have no relation to his views, referring to Daryl and what he said about Hong Kong. But with this situation, the MLB UA, who are the Umpires Association, they said this, and I quote, "The MLB UA supports all of the umpires who ensure fair play in the greatest game on earth. We are a group of individuals with diverse opinions and beliefs, united in our desire to continue our excellent officiating in MLB." They also said, "Rob is a passionate individual and an outstanding umpire. He chose the wrong way to convey his opinion about our great country. His posting does not represent the view of the MLB UA or reflect those of the umpires we represent." So they also kind of push themselves away. They kind of say, you went about it the wrong way. But they also say, we support their viewpoints and their values as long as they are really good at their job. That's kind of what I got out of that last sentence there. When he says when he supports the umpires who ensure fair play in the greatest game.
Yeah, I kind of feel that same way too. They're just basically saying, "Oh, I mean, he's really good though."
Right.
So,
like,
I mean,
he's really good at his job.
If he wants a Civil War, we'll give him a Civil War. But he's pretty good. He's pretty solid at his job.
It just came out wrong, I think, the way that it was worded, because they say he was wrong the way he said it, and he was wrong for saying it, but they support him because he's good at officiating. So, interesting stuff.
What is the proper way to say, like, I'm gonna go get an AR-15 and start a Civil War shortly?
Yeah, right. There's a dictionary on how to be obnoxious somewhere in America, and I'm sure Rob found it somewhere. So anyways, so he's allowed to say things like that, right? As an official, he can express his views and say what he wants, even as aggressive as it may sound, and he doesn't give a crap about anyone's feelings except his own and his president's, apparently. But he's allowed to say that without being fined or, being or getting in trouble with the league, because clearly the league doesn't care. But then you have players like this, Clay Matthews. He is a excellent linebacker who plays for the Los Angeles Rams. He's not as good as he used to be, but he still holds his own. He's still a pretty solid player. He comes out and he talks about the officiating done by the NFL. And he says, he basically says, I don't have theirs tweeted in there. It was under the... I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I was prepared. So anyways, this is what he says. The storyline for 2019 continues to be the refs' inability to make the accurate and correct calls week in and week out. Al Riveron continues to blindly side with his refs and the current status quo. Something must change. Zero accountability. So, let me get this straight. A referee for another league can talk about AR-15s and starting a civil war. Oh, by the way, Clay Matthews was fined $12,500 for that tweet. $12,500 for that tweet. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, to be clear, Clay Matthews can accurately describe the referee's stance in an NFL league, but then get fined for it, while an umpire of a different league can say he wants to start a civil war if Trump gets impeached. So I'm just making sure I have that right. That one guy can be peaceful and another guy can be aggressive, and the peaceful one is the one that gets fined.
You got it right. You got it completely right. But isn't that crazy though? I have to agree that I like the way you tied that in there. I didn't know we were going in that direction. How you were gonna do the fine thing. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That the guy didn't get fined or anything. It makes sense.
No, it's incredible. And it's one thing, and so this isn't just where it ends with Clay Matthews though. Like, Josh Norman, back in 2016, he wrote, and I quote, "You suck." He wrote that "you suck," and it was to the field judge Brad Freeman. He was fined $25,000 for that statement. It doesn't end there. Mike Tomlin last year, you might have remembered this one. He went out and said that, and I quote, a joke on penalties are costing games and jobs, and he's pissed about it. We need better referees, is what he said. Anyways, he got fined $25,000 as well for criticizing the referees. So to clarify, the NFL has this very strict policy about you cannot call out a referee's decision or poke fun at it or say anything about it because it hurts the integrity of the game. That's why you can't talk about the referees. It hurts the integrity of the game. But MLB will allow its officiating crew to talk about a civil war that they want to start if Donald Trump gets impeached.
That's crazy.
What?
I really don't have anything like the amount of accountability that is lacked in, you know, who you should fine and what you should fine is really funny, you know. It just
it's incredible, man. Like,
it's incredible.
Like, it just, I can't describe to you the infuriation in my body that I have for
You're
the
that inferior, huh?
Yes. But Clay Matthews is absolutely right, by the way, when he says this. He says, blindly sides with his refs. Al Riveron continues to blindly side with his refs and the current status quo. Something must change. I mean, something needs to change, obviously, because you have GMs who are opening up about their beliefs in other countries. You got umpires in another league who are talking about civil war starting, but then players talking about the game that they play for a living, they can't talk about it. They can't say things about it. They can't give you opinions, or they can't say, hey, maybe we should try this, or maybe we should do this different. So, like, the NFL has this whole policy on, like, if you say anything negative about the NFL, we'll fine you. And the only people that can say stuff are the commentators, because they can't find the commentators. The commentators work for the broadcasting team, and those broadcasters work for the networks, and those networks pay the NFL, or the NFL pays the networks to be on them. So, you know, like, they can't attack the commentators. But if an NFL player says anything negative about a game that they want to love and play for and entertain for us, the fans, but like, they get fined for it if they say anything, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm losing my mind over this because Clay Matthews is one of the most upstanding guys. Like you hear about him just being a great guy. Obviously, he's a tornado on the field, but in real life, he seems like a nice guy. He was in those Allstate commercials. Like, he just seems like a cool dude. So I don't understand why, and if, like, I just don't understand why players can't voice their opinion. Like,
and yeah, not only that, but he's right also.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's not saying anything wrong. He's like, the officiating has been complete shit, and not only has it been complete shit, but they've had opportunities to overturn stuff, and it's just been like, you didn't overturn that? Yeah. That's clear as day. Or you made that call? That's clear as day. Like, it's been bad. It's getting worse.
You brought that up, and I have stats for you here. Get ready for this, man. Get ready. You might want to take an aspirin, okay? Through 5 games, okay? So this was made up only through 5 games. Through 2019 right now. Through 5 games, the NFL Zebras, that's what this person calls them, has called 218 offensive holding penalties. Okay, that's through 5 games, right? Over the past 3 years, or no, here we go. It's a significant increase over the last 3 years. Last year, referees called a total of 555 holding penalties. So comprehend that. There's 16 games in a season. Last season, they only called 555 holding penalties. This year alone, within 5 weeks, they have 215 holding penalties. That's almost half. And they're only 5 weeks in up to that stat point. So I'm sure that stat has increased because we're at week 8 now. So obviously that has increased a lot. But that gives you concept of how, I mean, through 5 weeks, over a 3-year span, And that would average out 173 holding calls within 5 weeks over the past 3 years, if that's how the number stayed. So, anyways, that's where we're at.
Those are insane numbers, man. Like that, and like I gotta be honest though, I like the new personal foul rule. I think that tackling has taken a dip, in the wrong direction in the last 10 years. I think people have tried to be really aggressive and change their style of attacking when they're tackling. And it's really bad for the tackler, and it's bad for the person being tackled, and it's not safe, and it's not even, form tackling. So it's not. You don't even know what you're doing half the time. Is the way they're tackling. They're just throwing their body against somebody. So I do appreciate the new, tackling rule. I think we were going to talk about this last week. I don't know if we ever got a chance to hit on it, but there was a fine last week or in week 6 where there was a tackle, and we couldn't tell if that was a personal foul or if it wasn't a personal foul.
Where he hit him in the head, or it was like a helmet-to-helmet, I think, but you can't really tell.
Yeah.
We were going to cover that. I don't think we got fully to it.
We didn't get fully to it, but I think that what I'm trying to say is that guy was falling down.
Yeah.
The offensive player was going to the ground. The defensive player chose to be unnecessarily violent. Because if you're able to launch yourself and hit him while the guy's falling to the ground, you're also able to, jog up and touch him while he's on the ground.
Well, the other issue with that hit, though, was that he claims he was going for the ball, because where the ball was thrown, it was thrown low. So obviously the offensive guy was going for it. But as a defensive player, you're taught to intercept the ball. So, like, he went for the ball at the same time also.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I can see that.
So,
yeah, it's tough, but I do like that new rule. I appreciate, like, I know it's a 15-yard penalty, which is it's game changing. So maybe they need to make it like a 10-yard. Maybe a 10-yard penalty is a little more necessary for those. Maybe you make a new penalty.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's a little off topic from.
No. I mean, it's still pretty spot on, and a lot of people are voicing their opinion about the replays. Also, they're saying that's holding up the game, referencing pass interference. You can challenge pass interference calls now. Referees at a dime can replay a penalty and decide for themselves if they want to call it off or not. So, I mean, the game is slowing down immensely because of all these penalties, because of all these calls. Hey, you want to see really good officiating? Turn on any Jaguars game this season. Just make sure you turn that on. Hey, I really want to see some really great officiating. The last, I don't know how long, the Jaguars are at least double digit compared to the opponent. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. So.
It's bad. Like, I feel like we get the worst refs.
It's really bad.
Everybody says that, but please, somebody outside of Duval County, please watch a Jaguars game and please tell me it is not brutal.
Like,
the Denver Broncos scored a touchdown with 5 fat asses, like 8 yards downfield on a passing play. Not shitting you. Like, running downfield. It was wide. Ugh.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's the type of shit we get.
So moving on real quick. All right, so yeah, we got a couple more things we want to get through before we do. So week 8 in the NFL is trade deadline. So that's basically the moment when NFL teams cannot trade past week 8. So they have until week 8 to get all their trades in. This is a really important moment in NFL because teams that are on the cusp, who are like 3-3 or 4-3 or whatever, teams that are 2-4, they're maybe missing that one ingredient or that one piece, and another team has it, and they're going to trade away some picks to pick that piece up. We've seen it happen with a couple of players already. Obviously, we won't go into huge detail about it, but Jalen Ramsey was a big one. The Jaguars were able to get 2 first-round picks for him. So there's just kind of an example. But for a deadline example, Michael Bennett just recently, as of today. If you don't know who Michael Bennett was, he is the defensive end / tackle that played for the Seattle Seahawks for so many years on that amazing defense. He gets over to the Patriots, and I mean, Tyler, you were saying they're not really using him that well, and he gets traded to a new home, the Cowboys, who, by the way, their defensive line is pretty solid.
Yeah, what I love about trades is like you start to see players kind of move to where they belong, you know, like, and I think that Michael Bennett is going to move to where he belongs. I think he's going to jump into rotation with Lawrence and I forgot who their other lineman is, but it's a pretty decent lineman. And he'll get in there and he'll get his reps, and I think he'll get quality reps. Whereas for some reason with the Patriots, I don't know what was going on, but he definitely wasn't getting much playing time, many snaps. He wasn't getting many snaps, and it seemed a little like awkward. Anyways, also another, and it was a 7th round pick, you know. So the Patriots received a 7th round pick for Michael Bennett to go to the Cowboys.
That's
a little cheap. I mean,
it's kind of like they're trying to get rid of him.
I mean, maybe like I could understand a 6th and a 5th. Anything above a 5th, it would kind of blow my mind. But a 5th or a 6th, I would put it there. But 7th is like, I might keep Michael Bennett for his veteran leadership and stuff, especially on that defense. You know, what if somebody goes down? Because that defense is so special right now. You'd like to keep like the veteran leadership around. Another player I saw that made a good fit, you know, was the Rams when they sent Marcus Peters to the Ravens. He immediately had a pick 6.
Yeah.
It wasn't working out for Marcus Peters at LA with the Rams. I don't know why, but the Ravens sent Kenny Young, a linebacker, and a 2020 5th round draft pick to LA Rams. So I thought that was a pretty good deal for the Ravens. And then immediately right after that, you already hit on Jalen Ramsey getting snatched up by the Rams as well for 2 first-round
Another
picks.
worthy one that I think is a really interesting one we should keep an eye on. Mohamed Sanu was traded to New England. Now, this is interesting because we just found out that Josh Gordon was put on IR. Sucks for me. I hate Josh Gordon. No, I'm just kidding. Josh Gordon, we hope for a speedy recovery. But Mohamed Sanu was traded to New England, and you're assuming that he would take over that role that Josh Gordon kind of was holding down as kind of like their 3rd or 4th option in a very busy receiving field that is the New England Patriots. So they traded him there. That playbook's pretty wild, but I think Mohamed Sanu is a pretty solid player. I mean, you know, he was doing really well behind Julio Jones. He's not the highlight player that you need. He's more of just like that complimentary player that will just get you those easy catches, those easy first downs that you're looking for. He's usually like your 2nd or 3rd down check for a quarterback. So, you know, that's a solid home for him. But another interesting thing, though, the Falcons have put Vic Beasley Jr., 2015 first-round draft pick. He's on the trading block right now.
Right.
A lot of people are saying it's because of the salary situation. He's supposed to earn up to $12.81 million for 2019. And it sounds like they're trying to get rid of that salary. They don't want to give it to him. So, interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. I do agree. I feel like the Falcons are going to be busy around trade deadline. They already brought in Jonathan Cyprien, a safety from the Eagles. Another team I think that's going to be pretty busy around the trade deadline will be the Broncos. I know they got rid of Sanders. He went to the 49ers, which ultimately made the Seattle Seahawks pick up Quandre Diggs from the Lions. But I do think the Broncos, they still have – I think they have some people were throwing out Von Miller. I do not see that happening, but some people threw that out there. There's another defensive lineman, Derek Wolfe. A lot of people are calling for him. And there's one more player that they're calling for. Chris Harris. Chris Harris Jr. So they're calling for Chris Harris Jr. and Derek Wolfe. And some people are clamoring about Von Miller, which if Elway's looking to start over, which it seems like Elway's always looking to start over, it seems like Von Miller could be something that happens and is a possibility. I don't know what the penalty would be for trade for. If you trade him, you don't really get. Never mind. If you trade him, you don't get a penalty. I'm thinking about cutting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I look for the Broncos to be pretty busy as well.
And then keep your eye out on AJ Green. He's an interesting situation as well. He's 31. He's a veteran wide receiver. When he's healthy, he's easily top 3 wide receivers in the league. One of the best still, I think. And, at 31, he's been dealing with an ankle injury. But if you've been reading the headlines, because he's on my team, he has been really nursing it, so it's kind of like snail rolling this whole process, and he's really hoping for a trade. The Bengals, who are 0-7 right now, this is their first season without what's his name, Melvin, their head coach, Marvin Jones, Marvin Lewis. That's it. Sorry, this is their first year without Marvin Lewis, and I think AJ Green's not taking that very well because Marvin Lewis has been with him since day one, and so AJ Green, you might see him. There's talks that he may go to the Bills. Ugh. There's also talks of other places as well. People may be trying to chime in. But again, keep in mind, he's 31. Obviously, he's a wide receiver, but he's also injury prone. So 31 injury prone, it's going to be tough. And he's on a contract year as well. So wherever he goes next, they're going to have to pay him next year. And that's something that teams usually don't like to do. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Any last ones you can think of, Tyler? I know Devontae Parker has been talks to the Saints.
Melvin Gordon. Devontae Parker. I think Melvin Gordon still has a chance to be traded.
To the Lions, from what I heard.
Oh, really? Yeah, with Kerryon Johnson down, that'd be a pretty good fit.
So I picked up this USA Today article.
Cam Newton could be a wild card if he gets healthy. Yeah. Once, he could be
this USA Today article. You're really gonna like this one. They said they.
Oh, and don't forget about Josh Gordon. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Last one. Josh Gordon could get traded, and that's an interesting one because he's on IR. So he says that his injury is not as bad as the Patriots are saying. The Patriots are open to trading.
Yeah.
So.
Yannick Ngakoue. Some people are saying the Raiders are going for him and tag him up with Khalil Mack. I don't think that will happen. I don't see that happening.
You mean Colin Farrell? Khalil Mack's in Chicago now.
Sorry. Yeah. He would kind of be the new Khalil Mack. That's the idea.
Yeah, no, they can't.
That's not going to happen. There's no way. That would be another 3 first-round pick.
Now that Jalen's going, we're going to pay him.
Right, exactly. So, anyways, final thoughts here on fantasy football, Tyler. We've been doing pretty well thus far. You sit at 3rd place. You're 5-2. I sit at 7th place. Huh?
I fell from 1st to 3rd. I think it's nice to be noted that I fell from 1st to 3rd.
Sorry, you were at 1st, fell to 3rd.
Yes.
You're 5-2. I actually went up a spot, 2 spots. I was in 9th. But I had a surprising win, and I'm at 3-4. I'm still very much in this race because pretty much everyone in this league is 3-4 or 5-2.
Yeah, you very much so are in this race, and honestly, I could be out of this race.
It's incredible. Fantasy football is wild. Tyler, I know you probably want to talk shit about it. I'll give you the time now to talk shit. I traded Julio Jones for James White.
Oh yeah.
Your thoughts?
Immediately he had like a 6-catch, 100-yard day.
Who? Julio?
Yeah, on Jalen Ramsey.
I wasn't 100. I think it was like 90 something.
I'm pretty sure he went over 100.
It was semantics, man.
I'm pretty sure he went over 100. He was toasting Ramsey.
But it was like 16 points.
Yeah, that's what I said. 6 catches, 100-yard day.
And James White had 13 points. Listen, everyone in this goddamn league puts a premium on running backs, and when you need one, you have to, it's just impossible. You can't You can't get a running back. Like it's fucking impossible in this league. So you have to either do what I did, do a really stupid decision, and trade for a running back, and now I have depth at running back. Or you just suck it up and you hope for the best with Mr. Julio Jones.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out. I got Auden Tate. Listen here, bro. I got Auden Tate, bro.
It's a bowl of cotton.
Auden Tate got 9 points last week. He's on a solid high of 14 points. Devontae Parker. Okay, let me tell you about this guy now.
Dude, stop talking.
No, he's had 3 double-digit games in his past 4 games because he had a bye week. So this dude, he's on fire. Okay, so I don't want to hear. I just picked up. You ready for this? A.J. Brown. All right, because Ryan Tannehill for some reason is good in Tennessee for some reason. Don't know how that's possible.
He has up and down games. He's just like Mariota, inconsistent, and Blake Bortles, inconsistent.
So A.J. Brown is on a roll. I don't want to hear it because I got the best tight end in the league. My man, the Walrus, Darren Waller, just being the anchor for my team.
I feel like my tight end might be better.
I feel like your tight end is a tight end. Okay, so shut up.
I got two really decent tight ends. I feel like both of them. Yeah.
Listen, Chris Carson got me 9 points this week, and I didn't even need him. So suck it.
You didn't even did you? So you won.
Yes, I won. I had to win.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll review my. What week was it?
Week 7.
7. Oh Lord.
No, week 7. I'm pretty sure I was one of the highest scoring teams last week, all thanks to my defense, Los Angeles Rams, and Darren Waller.
Yeah, I lost to
and Mike Thomas.
Thanks. Shout out to them, Mike Thomas, Darren Waller, Los Angeles Rams. I lost to St. Park Meat Packers. South Park Meat Packers.
Well, he's first place now, so.
Yeah. He's Paul. He's 5-2. He scored 139. I scored 122. Unfortunately, I didn't really have anybody on my bench that would have really made a difference. I could have put Golden Tate in the flex and taken out Melvin Gordon or Mark Ingram, and just put Josh Jacobs in running back, which he was in the flex. Josh Jacobs was, and that would have probably is that 14 points. No, that wouldn't have done it. So, yeah, I was losing no matter what. So, shout out to Paul. Beat me. Way to take first place and knock me down to third place. Solid move. Everybody's close, like you were saying earlier.
Well, it's not looking good for me right now. Dalvin Cook's playing right now as we speak, and he already has 15 points, and it's just now halftime. He has 5 receptions for 73 yards. And he has 31 rushing yards.
That's insane. Dalvin Cook's a freak.
He's a freak of nature. And they're in the red zone right now, so most likely he will get a touchdown. So Dalvin Cook may single-handedly win this game for South Park. But you never know. Fantasy football has been absolutely stupid this year. So you never know.
Yeah. Last week, Dalvin Cook had 142 yards rushing and 2 rush TDs and 1 reception, just to throw a little cherry on top. So yeah, I felt the pain last week of what it's like to face Dalvin Cook. So,
well,
yeah, good luck to you this week, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Since we don't have to face each other, we can be friends again.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Call it what you want.
Well, I know he's not watching, so I will say this: he hasn't changed out his kicker yet. Let's hope he doesn't do it. I don't think it would be a big.
Why did you say that?
Huh?
Why did you say that?
Because he's not watching.
Okay.
Unless you say something in the chat room, and then you might say.
No, I'm just gonna say, hey guys, make sure to watch our podcast, and I talked a lot about fantasy stuff at the end. I'm not gonna say anything other than that, though. I won't sell you out.
All right, that's fine. Why would you want him to win? He's in first place. That doesn't even make sense.
You're right. I'm gonna shut up.
Anyways, all right. Well, let's get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is.
Wait. Let's hit that feel good story real quick.
Do you have it? Because I don't have it.
Yeah, I have it. even though I just sent it to you, like, you know.
And what did I
maybe like
say?
an hour ago.
Dalvin Cook scored a touchdown. Big whoop. 21 points now. Anyways, continue.
You called it. All right, so feel-good story of the week comes from Minnesota. The coach of the Golden Gophers and a cancer survivor, 4-time cancer survivor. 4 times this dude beat cancer. He was placed on the field as the place kick holder for the extra point on I want to say one of the final touchdowns, or like the 4th of 6 touchdowns. Yeah, it was the 4th touchdown. So he got to hold the extra point pretty much. This was a big deal. This guy had beaten cancer 4 times. He's been struggling with it since he was 13 years old.
Wow.
It was a lot of emotion on that field. If you haven't seen the video or missed it on SportsCenter or whatnot, I definitely recommend going and watching the video. It's cool, because the coach is feeling everything that the player is feeling, and the player is goes over and runs over to the coach and hugs the coach, and it was a cool moment. So, but yeah, that's
awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again. This is 60-minute suspension. My name's Amp. That is T-Dubs.
Yo.
Oh, side note, T-Dubs dances extremely well on a scooter. So, if you...
Really good. Shout out to John and Shay. And bless their marriage and whatever realm blessings they want to receive. I don't, or whatever blessings you want to send out there to them. John and Shay, they're on their honeymoon.
John
forever.
Shay, big heart to you.
Yeah.
That
was a good time, dude. It's great hanging out with you.
Yeah, we had a good time. Did you try that cake, by the way?
Oh, it was good. It was what was it? Cookies and cream?
I don't remember. It was just good. I was a little intoxicated. Listen, open bars. Yes. I know that wasn't cheap. Anyways, moving on. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is 60 Minute Suspension. T-Dubs does the turf as well. Did you drop your article?
No, I haven't dropped the article. Still working on it. Talking about the trades we just talked about. So if you missed anything and what Amp and I talked about tonight, a lot of it will be in an article I'm writing about the trade. Trade deadline's coming up on October 29th. So we got some stuff to cover. If you want to go read that, you can go to theturfsports.com. And you can go ahead and check that out. I'm the head NFL writer for them, and yeah.
And when that article drops, it will also be on the Amplified Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Well, it will be on the Facebook, but we do have Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and all that other stuff. And make sure you check out our podcast, man. We're on Spotify and all the other podcasts except Apple Podcasts for some reason. We can't figure that one out. It's being stupid, but. Check us out on Spotify, though, for sure.
All your other shows are on Apple Podcasts.
They're not. Or are they?
They are.
Well, one of them aren't anymore because of legal reasons. But anyways, that's for another story.
I know. I'm interested in that.
I'll tell you when we get off air. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. Wow.